Hello, Internet and members of the SBHS community. I'm Tatum on this edition of Book Talk for the SBHS Rebelution. I am missing my counterpart because we are now doing book talks in segments, and this edition is my turn. Next edition, Kaylee will be back. Don't know what book she's doing yet, but I know she'll pick a good one. As mentioned in the first episode of Book Talk, this month is Sci-Fi Month and Fantasy Month. But since fantasy is more Kaylee's genre, I'm doing a book that is realistic fiction but deals a lot with fantasy. How can those two go together, you say? They go together quite nicely in this book by Rowell. So I am doing Fangirl by Rowell, and coming from a fangirl, this book is very, very awesome. The book is about a girl named Cather Avery, and it is about her first year in college and going through the struggles and joys of that first year and just getting accustomed to a new way of life. Kath is very invested in a fandom called Simon Snow. It's kind of a mix between Harry Potter and Twilight. There's wizards and vampires, prophecies, magical boys. It's pretty good from what I've read of it in Fangirl. I know there's real fan fiction on it, but Kath writes her own fan fiction for Simon Snow in the book, and that's what makes her kind of relatable, I guess. She's just really invested in this fandom, and I totally understand that, as you can see from the Doctor Who and Star Wars on my wall. It's really good to see the way Rowell writes this character, because she writes this character in a very relatable way. You can see how the main character channels her conflicts in life into this escape, this fantasy. And I think that's what a lot of people do. In addition, the story starts out, Kath is one thing, she's shy and insecure, but by the end of the book, after she's gone through many different experiences and kind of facing her fears and her inner demons, she really changes. It's a very uplifting way to write a book. I don't know if you've ever read Rowell, but Eleanor and Park, this book by Rowell, it's a tearjerker and ends in no way like Fangirl. Fangirl ends in a much better way than Eleanor and Park does. Her roommate and her don't get along at the beginning of the year. The strange boy keeps showing up in her room. Her writing teacher doesn't like the fact that she's writing fan fiction. Her twin sister is leaving her after all the years they spent together. Her life is just really rough. And then throughout the book you see more deeper struggles about her family, her dad, and her mom. And it's just, you're wondering how she goes along with it, but I think the reason she's sane is because of this fandom she's in, because of Simon Snow, and I really like the way Rowell writes that because it's a very relatable way for me, I know. Whenever there's a struggle or something, it's kind of comforting to go into the books and movies you like because it just provides an escape, and I think that's what Kath was doing for a long time. She was always escaping from her troubles, and this book, she finally faces it. It's a very creative way of writing. It flows really well. Rowell is a great writer. Her writing is artistic, I guess, and crafty, clever. It flows like a conversation you're having in your head, because she writes it in third person, but it's kind of like from the point of view of Kath, I guess. There's no I, but it's more like Kath did this, and here's what she thought. I really like that way of writing. And that's how Rowell does all of her books so far, which is Attachments, Eleanor and Park, Fangirl, and Landline, so check any of those out. And if you do finish Fangirl, I would highly suggest going to read Landline, because there's a little tidbit in Landline that explains the fate of some of the characters in Fangirl that I really enjoyed, that little tidbit, and it's partially why I bought Landline. Here's the cover, by the way. It's very good. She writes in a very romantic way. I guess because she's a romantic herself. I wouldn't know, though. But all her books pretty much deal with kind of this odd, misfit romance, and I think Fangirl is my favorite. It's not just dealing with fangirls and fandoms. It's more dealing with confronting your fears and confronting the troubles you had instead of putting them away, because that's what Kath has done all her life, and then suddenly all her troubles, all her insecurities come to light, and she has to face them, or else she'll be overcome by them, and that's not going to happen. You can't let that happen. I would recommend it to anyone in the high school reading level or above, because there is some content probably not appropriate for young children. There's a wide range of people who should read it and could read it. I know I've recommended it to a few friends and then been like, wait, I don't know if you want to read that, because I think a lot of myself is reflected in Kath, but I wouldn't want them to miss out on a good book. So, read the book. I think that's basically it for this book talk. Went over all the points I need to cover, except for the fact that you can buy Fangirl at Barnes & Noble, and I know it is in our school library, so definitely check it out at the school library, and if someone else has it, either find them or just reserve it, which I would highly recommend because this book is definitely worth the read. And also check out Landline, Eleanor and Park, but first you should read Fangirl. So definitely do that. And if you do finish Fangirl or any of the books we recommend, totally comment us. Tell us your reaction to it. We would love to see people's reactions to the books we've recommended, and send us your own recommendations. You can email us at sbhsrebelword@gmail.com, or either comment or question in the YouTube comments, or of course on the school newspaper, which this is linked to. So that is this edition of Book Talk. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you keep reading. Thank you. Bye.